The skies over Ireland are not crowded, or not yet anyway. And just as there are driving schools for cars in Dublin and Limerick and elsewhere, so there's a helicopter driving school at Shannon Airport, the first in Ireland. But while you can learn to drive a car for as little as £25, your helicopter course will cost you £2,200. And while you can buy a car for as little as £400 or £500, a three-seater Hughes helicopter like this one would cost you up to £11,000. The Hughes 300 helicopter has its military applications in Vietnam. This little bubble bird is assembled at Shannon, and £1 million worth have been sold from Shannon since 1966. But there's no use selling helicopters to people who can't fly them. So Transworld Helicopters set up a training school here at Shannon Airport.
We're going to consider the practical application of the critical point. For the purpose of this, assume that you are flying a helicopter from a hospital in Dublin to a tanker which will be situated approximately 20 miles west of Holyhead. The reason for this is there's a dangerously sick patient there who requires a serum. This serum has been put on board this tanker for a case on board the tanker, then found unnecessary from the Pasteur Institute in Paris by another helicopter in the Bay of Biscay. It's your job to fly out with this doctor and return with the serum. You have been flying for a certain period of time from Dublin when you notice that you have an abnormally high fuel flow. When it may not be possible for you to continue to the tanker because of this normally high fuel which is cutting into your reserve. So you have to calculate the point of equal time, or the critical point between the hospital and the tanker. What is the formula for the point, critical point?
Well, the critical point is equal to the distance of the journey multiplied by the ground speed back over the sum of the ground speed out and the ground speed back.
Right, so you know how to find the critical point. It's a non-auto-stabilized helicopter, so you do it on the computer, right? Assuming your ground speed out as 80 knots, ground speed back as 60 knots, and the distance to the tanker 92, on your computers, what is the distance to the critical point from the hospital? You must be past this if you want to carry on.
Why are you learning to fly a helicopter?
Well, it's for personal satisfaction. I was in the Air Corps working on maintenance, and I obtained a maintenance license, and now I just want to add a commercial pilot's license to it.
I'm learning to fly a helicopter because I think there's a great future in this, especially in other parts of the world. There's a lot of interesting work for a helicopter. It's got many applications which I don't think have really been tried yet, and which later on in the future maybe I'll have a chance to get in on the ground, so to speak.
Well, why choose a helicopter rather than a fixed-wing aeroplane?
In a short term or relatively short distance point of view, you can do more with a helicopter in, say, tighter areas, more confined areas. You've got a much greater position to get in and out of confined space, or get to, say, an oil rig out on the sea. You can come down on it, but a fixed-wing course can't get anywhere near it, apart from dropping the man into the ocean.
Well, of course, you've invested quite a lot of money into this course. Now, where do you see your return on this?
Oh, the return will come. The more flying hours I total up, the greater becomes my salary with the experience, naturally. So that's what I'm hoping for, is to go to various parts of the world to try different types of helicopter experience, and thereby chalk up the hours and get the experience. And with the experience, of course, up goes one's salary.
Commercial pilots have a good salary, £2,500. That's when you get in a certain amount of flying hours. And, well, £2,500 is
plenty of money.
Plenty of money, yes.
Is a helicopter difficult to fly?
The ones we are learning on are very, very sensitive, and therefore you can't get out put them out of control. But once you've learned to master these controls, they are relatively very, very stable. You can, in fact, virtually, when you've got it all stable, you can fly with your little finger. But this requires quite a bit of skill.
Every day during the course, the students learn the theory of flight and navigation and other subjects in the classroom. And every day, weather permitting, they do their practical work in the helicopters themselves, or that's the theory anyway. Captain, how long does it take to learn to fly a helicopter?
Well, initially it takes a minimum, I would say, of 9 hours to go solo, with perhaps as long as 17 hours, so take an average figure of about 12 hours, 11 or 12 hours. A pupil will go solo in a helicopter. Then he has, of course, considerably more to learn. The total course would amount to between 75 and 100 hours.
Well, now, in 4 months, he pays something like £2,200. This is a lot of money, so he must learn more than merely how to fly a helicopter, how to get it off the ground.
He has to learn navigation, airmanship, theory of flight, engines, radio telephony, navigation by radio means, meteorology, and air legislation.
Well, does this course guarantee him a license?
It doesn't guarantee him a license. The license is not issued by us. The license is issued by the department. At the end of the course, he sits an exam, which, if he passes, will give him a commercial pilot's license.
But the average man surely couldn't afford £2,200 for a course like this, could he?
The average man couldn't. The answer to that is definitely that he couldn't. But providing his educational background and his medical requirements are correct, it is possible, with the grave shortage of pilots, that a company would subsidize him for the course, providing he undertook to join that company as a professional pilot on completion of the course.
Well, I suppose one could fly a helicopter, and you owned an aircraft like this little one we're sitting in now.
Yeah.
How much would it cost to operate it, to run it?
Approximately £1 a mile.
That's not much dearer than a big car.
No. And with the density of populations and restrictions we have on the ground now, you're already growing even in Ireland, but in Europe much more so, the availability, maneuverability, and the general way you can use the helicopter is a great advantage over a car.
Well, I must say it all looks very simple, but is it really easy to fly?
No more difficult than any light aircraft. Well, let's have a go.
Right. So the first thing you do to get off the ground is what, Captain?
Switch on, same as a car. Ignition on. Fuel boosters on. Start the engine.
Right, and with the engine started...
RPM, manifold pressure, so I will wait for our temperatures to come up a little bit. Fuel, oil.
Actually, there are very few instruments on it, really.
It's a very basic instrument panel because we don't have what we call instrument flying. It's a visual flight type.
Well, now, what do you do to get it off the ground?
We've got to have power, everything else going. This is throttle control.
Yes.
We merely increase our pitch and pull this lever up.
Now, this stick in the... is sort of a joystick, is it?
Yes, but you mind
I should
taking
keep
your
my
feet
feet
off
up, right?
That's right.
Okay.
All controls are instinctive. In other words, you push them the way you want to go.
Yes.
When we want to go forward, we push it forward. We want to go to the right, so... want to go to the left, so... want the nose to come up and back.
And we're now at about, what is that, 500 feet?
Yes, 500.
I suppose it flies at about what, roughly? It would.
Airspeed is approximately, we have a maximum here. We would normally operate at about 60 to 70 miles per hour, forward speed.
And at what sort of height would you normally say we were going to Dublin now? What sort of?
It would depend on the cloud base. We would have to stay below the cloud base. That would be in general flying somewhere in the region of 2,000 feet.
Well, what happens, Captain, if suddenly when you're in the air, the engine stops?
Well, we'll go into auto rotation. Would you like to do that now?
Well, let's try it.
Right,
It's safe, I presume.
Oh, we'll find out. You see the ground coming up now quite quickly, right?
Yes.
There's no power on at all, right?
Right.
Now, to prevent being a very heavy landing, we do a flare. We pull back, flare, right?
Right.
Up with this. Did you feel that landing?
It wasn't bad at all, I must say. Not
Right.
too bad.
So this thing has tremendous advantage over a single-engined aircraft, in so much as when the engine fails, there's nothing to worry about.
Mm-hmm. And would you just take it up again and let's do the left and the right turns and
Yes.
sort of try it for a little speed, if you wouldn't mind. So we're moving up again.
So we're going up again.
Right.
Those magnificent men in their flying machine, they go up to the up, they go down to the down. They enchant all the ladies and steal all the scene with their up to the up, and their down to the down. Up, down, flying around, looping the loop and defying the ground. They're all rightfully keen, those magnificent men in their flying machine. They can fly upside down with their feet in the air. They don't think of danger, they really don't care. Newton would think he had made a mistake to see those young men and the chances they take. Those magnificent men in their flying machine, they go up to the up, they go down to the down. They enchant all the ladies and steal all the scene with their up to the up, and their down to the down. Up, down, flying around, looping the loop and defying the